Hi, I'm Jason Dyett. I was very fortunate to be the first executive director of Harvard's Dr. Class Brazil office in Sao Paulo from 2006 until 2016. I was involved in MLAB from its creation in 2011 until 2016. MLAB and the types of individual relationships and institutional partnerships that it has helped create continue to be an inspiration for me in collaborative work that I'm doing between Brazil and the US, now with a higher education institution called UniInter that serves 515,000 students across Brazil. Our one-page draft of what would become MLAB started circulating in August of 2011. There were 4 key people working on the program with me. The first was Marina de Moura, who was the head of student programs in the Brazil office at the time. Also Mateo Corbi, a fantastic college student who had just recently graduated and was a post-graduation fellow. And another recent alum of Harvard College, Adam Singerman. The fourth person who was involved was Manuela Parisi, who was an intern who was then hired by the Brazil office, and she was a fantastic presence in the program as well. MLAB was inspired by 2 pre-existing programs that the office had had great experiences with. The first is the Public Health Collaborative Field Course and also the Environmental Engineering Field Course. Both of those had a one-to-one relationship of Harvard students and Brazilians, and that was something absolutely critical that we wanted to bring over to MLAB, and we had struggled to do so for a couple of years because we didn't know how we would do a program that served Harvard students wanting to improve their Portuguese and Brazilians who wanted to work on their English, and focusing on mentoring and issues that were really important for these very bright, talented young Brazilians to work on as they looked forward and tried to achieve what the Harvard College students had done by being accepted into Harvard, ended up being the answer to how do we get these people together on a one-to-one basis, but focused on things that at first seemed like they would be on different tracks. So we focused on the mentoring. That brought everybody together, and then the language was important, but that could be done on separate tracks for the Brazilians on the English front and for the Harvard students working on Portuguese. The program really seemed to fit the needs, both of the Harvard students who were interested in mentoring and in helping people who had backgrounds that were similar to their own, just in a different country context. And for Brazil, I think it was very important because there wasn't a lot of knowledge of universities in the United States or what it took to go to Harvard, particularly around extracurriculars and aspects of their lived experience that are really important in a campus environment and valued by universities in the US system, but that were not present in the Brazilian system. For that reason, the MLAB model and the level of engagement with college students who were relatable really set up the Brazilian participants for something that matched their curricular and really extracurricular needs to prepare for success. So financially, we knew the program would be a challenge from the beginning. Not only did we want to adopt the need-blind, passport-blind approach that Harvard College had worked so hard to achieve over decades, centuries, we also wanted to make it so that every Brazilian student could participate in the program with no cost. And it wasn't just that we were looking for need-blind, passport-blind. We were explicitly targeting students both from Harvard and Brazil who we knew would not be able to pay anything for flights, in the case of Harvard students, or room and board, or any type of program fee. So on the Harvard side, we tried to align the program with the requirements for the Harvard students to be able to be successful in getting full funding to be able to participate. More importantly and challenging was to partner with organizations and people in Brazil that would make it so that all of the Brazil students could participate for free. And 2 partners really stick out in my mind in the early days as being critical. The first was Colégio Bandeirantes, and Mauro de Salles Aguiar, the president and founder of Colégio Bandeirantes and one of the board members for the Brazil office, was an amazing proponent of the program. He pulled in Professor Olavo, who's taught English at Colégio Bandeirantes, and Olavo was a super partner in finding students and supporting students. So from the beginning, Colégio Bandeirantes had a strong presence, and more than just a presence of its students, a participation, and helped us make both the financial and the quality bars that we wanted to establish possible. The second amazing partner was Primeira Chance. This was a brand new organization. It was founded in 2011, the first year of MLAB, and Ricardo Salles, who was the founder, deeply believed in creating opportunities for exceptional Brazilian students to learn about extracurriculars, to inspire themselves, and to go on to really top-tier programs in the US and in other countries. So Primeira Chance and Ricardo were great as well. So when we established the program, we wanted to keep three existing core tenets of the program. The first was the one-to-one relationship of students from Brazil and from Harvard. The second was to have very strong partners, that there was a reciprocal relationship between ourselves and the partners. We were really building this up with an eye on what would be good for Brazil, not just what would be good for Harvard and Harvard students. And then the third aspect was to try to reproduce outside of the campus in Cambridge and Boston a program that would really have a 24-hour-a-day, 7-day-a-week campus feeling. A significant difference in the program for us compared to the collaborative field course in public health or other programs that we had run is we really wanted the students to have a role as protagonists, not just in being participants in the program, but helping run it, helping make it a success. So they really stepped up with that, not just in the mentoring, but also in making sure that younger high school students from Brazil were supported and prepared and given opportunities to test new things, but also given the support that was needed in a very foreign environment to thrive. When I think of memorable moments from the program, one is just walking into the bright lime green lobby of a hostel that we got in one of the first years of the program. It just reflected the energy and the chaos of having lots of people in small different rooms. And just Matteo Corbi, who pulled out his guitar, he helped bring that group together and smooth out a lot of potentially rough edges with people who were literally stacked on top of each other in this small but very warm hostel. My favorite moment in terms of student growth was just that moment when you could see that students started to believe in themselves. So the Brazilian students who were being mentored, you could just see them say, aha, I can be a student at Harvard, or I could be a student like these people are in a top-tier program, which was very different from the first days or the lead up to the program, when they really viewed Harvard students as extraterrestrials. They thought they were from a different place, a different planet, that their backgrounds must be better and that I can't succeed at this. And that, to me, was really a core for MLAB, is that the Harvard students helped them see that that wasn't the case, that these students were amazing, that they had all sorts of skills and backgrounds and lived experiences that made them every bit as worthy of being at a top-tier institution as the Harvard students themselves. So my favorite post-program moment was in September 2022, when a great friend of mine, Jake Sarofman, came back from a developers conference in Silicon Valley. He's the chief marketing officer for a successful tech company, and he had had a meeting with Sebastian Garcia, who is a vice president at Advent International, the large investing outfit. And Jake said, Sebastian's just this great guy. He's, sharp as a whip, but also just really down to earth. And he said to say hello. And, just looking back, Sebastian had been a participant in the MLAB program a decade before. He was in the 2012 cohort. And just knowing that that type of personality continued, and that despite his professional success, MLAB was on the tip of his tongue, was just a really nice memory to reflect on, and also just to think about all of the amazing work that has been done by Harvard College students and people in the Dr. Class Brazil office, and this program is still around more than 10 years after starting and is impacting more lives than ever.